Hi again, it's Margaret, and I have a delicious recipe I'm bringing to you today, and it was inspired by this. My beautiful bouquet of dill smells so good. When I was little, I used to call this the pickle tree because it smelled like a dill pickle. But the dill at the market was just so stunning. I thought, oh, I've got to make one of my favorite soups, and that's tomato dill soup. But I'm going to do it in a bisque form. You could leave out the cream, which ours will be non-dairy, and ours will be vegan, and ours will be fat-free. Because you can choose to leave out the olive oil. You can also put it in. It's just however you want to do it. And this recipe is very user-friendly because it doesn't really have a specific order that everything has to be put into. So it's really easy to kind of put it in any way we want to. So what I'm going to do is use two different kinds of tomatoes. I could have used these organic fire roasted tomatoes, but I have never cooked with these before, and I used them one other time and thought they were delicious. So I thought I would use the finely chopped tomatoes and give these a try. These are Italian. This already was a little bit warm. So I'm just going to start with these tomatoes and put those in, and I've got it on just a gentle heat. It's on a very low setting, and start with that. I'm also going to do something a little different to add some different kind of texture. These are just, they're going to have a little texture to them because they were just barely chopped. But these tomatoes were so pretty. These heirloom tomatoes were at our market. So I had an idea of a way to mix in some ingredients to add a different texture and a different flavor, because this tomato is going to taste different from this one, as well as to get a thickener in there. And I'm going to use my Vitamix. The best part about these kind of tomatoes is every one of them is different. Every one of them is delicious, and it's just so nice to have the different varieties to choose from. So I'm going to just take this tomato and cut off the top of it. That's a big core. And I'm going to put this part in the Vitamix. You don't want to add your dill until later, because if you add your dill to the Vitamix, it will actually turn green, and you will have a green tomato soup, and that might be a little strange. So I'm going to take my tomato, and then this is what I came up with the idea to make it a little thicker. I have some gluten-free flour. I have about a tablespoonful, and I'm going to just add that to my tomato. That way I won't have lumps, and I've worked in the flour in a very easy way to do it without having to mess with, you know, mixing the water with it and everything else. So I'm just going to do it like that. Now I might add a little pink Himalayan salt, and I can go ahead and put my pepper in here too. These are multicolor peppercorns, and I really like them. They have a beautiful flavor, and they just give a little bit of texture to it, a little bit of depth. I'm going to need a little bit of liquid in here, so I have some vegetable broth, organic vegetable broth. You could just use water, that's fine too. This just happens to have a little more flavor. So as my liquid, I'm just going to put a little vegetable broth in there. I'm going to say about a half a cup. And then let's get blending. Okay, that was one giant tomato with 1 tablespoon gluten-free flour, and that added so much to the dish. It filled it up. Now, as I said, you don't have to have a real certain order. This is 3/4 of a cup of almond milk. I'm going to put that straight in there. That's unsweetened. It is not vanilla, it's just unsweetened almond milk. I also have some garlic powder. You could use fresh garlic, but I just wanted more of the cooked flavor, and the garlic powder is more of a already cooked kind of flavor to it. So I thought I would put that in. Now, I'm definitely going to finish it with some dill, but I also want to have dill in there from the beginning to flavor the dish as it cooks along. So, again, I do like stems. I think they're good. I like a little bite, a little crunch going on. And you do not want to put these in with your tomatoes in the Vitamix unless you would like green tomato soup. It should be clever, interesting, confusing, but I loved this dill. It was just so beautiful and fresh. I found that when I want to keep dill fresh in my refrigerator, I use the green bag. I think I showed you this in another video. These are so handy. And I take a paper towel, I wet it, and put it on the roots of the basil, and then stick it in the green bag. And that was about a cup, roughly chopped and not packed. I would say a half a cup if you packed it in. Okay, so we have our ingredients in, and we're just gonna let it cook for a while. This soup has been cooking about 10 minutes. As you can see, it's bubbling away. Everything that you add can be done to taste. Salt, pepper, garlic, more or less of it, just however you like it. You could have used garlic salt instead of garlic powder, or even fresh garlic if you like that flavor too. They all work great. I'm gonna let it cook a little bit longer and we'll be back. Okay, the soup has cooked for about 15 minutes and I left it on medium heat. I'm gonna add 3/4 of a cup more of the almond milk. You could use a heavy cream if you're doing dairy. And I added a little bit more of the gluten-free flour, about a teaspoonful to it, because I want it to be a thicker kind of soup. So I'm gonna add the cream because I like a creamy soup. It cuts into the acid from the tomatoes and just makes it friendlier and smoother and yummier. I'm gonna let this cook another 10 minutes and then we'll give it a check. All right, we are back, and the soup has cooked about 20 minutes. On low heat, it simmered about another 10, and I've scooped some up. I'm gonna top it with a little bit of fresh dill on top because that just adds that brightness to the dish, that fresh dill flavor. You could also, I wanted to mention, use dried dill if you don't have a gorgeous bunch of dill in your market, or if you're not growing some. I'm growing some right now too, but dried dill will work just as well. It is a stronger, more intensified flavor, so you could use less. But here we are. I've scooped some in here. It's had a minute to cool. You can top it with olive oil. You could top it with more dill, and if you're into sour cream, you could put some of that on there. But let's just see how this turned out. That is so good. It's creamy, it's bright from the dill, rich from the tomatoes, smooth from the cream, which would be the almond milk, and it just, all the flavors mesh together and make it so smooth and delicious. This is comfort food. It really is. And it's delicious hot or even at room temperature. It'd be great for a picnic. You could pack it up and eat this at room temperature. It'd be perfect. So I hope you give it a try. I hope that you like this video and that you subscribe. And I would love any requests for any other thoughts or videos that you would like to have a regular recipe turned into something vegan, vegetarian, non-dairy or dairy-free, and good and healthy. So I hope you like this video and give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.